Hello, everyone. My name is Magla, and I bid you a very warm welcome to today's show entitled New Beginnings. Excuse me. This program is hosted by the Brahma Kumaris World Spiritual University, and the main focus of this university is to help people all across the globe emerge their inner qualities of peace, love, etc. We also use these inequalities to develop ourselves, especially qualities such as integrity and self-mastery. This unique form of spiritual education was initiated in 1936 and is offered over 130 countries across the globe. The Brahma Kumaris offers courses in hospitals, schools, businesses, etc., on subject matter like positive thinking, stress management, and personal development. All courses offered by the Brahma Kumaris are free of charge. I'd now like to introduce you to our speaker for this afternoon. Dr. Jenna is a highly acclaimed spiritual mentor. Her main focus is on building bridges in divided societies and on building relationships between global influences. Jenna is based in Washington, D.C., and is the founder and director of two Brahma Kumaris meditation museums there. Jenna hosts the American Meditating radio show, and she has served as a principal partner on a program entitled The Belief Team, where she is paired with individuals such as Oprah Winfrey. Jenna is the recipient of the President's Lifetime National Community Service Award, one of many awards that she's been awarded. Jenna is also a global traveler. She has set foot in over 93 countries, offering tools to building community engagement and also teaching individuals how to create a more sustainable future. I'll now bid you a very warm welcome to this afternoon's program, New Beginnings. So please sit back and enjoy. And I'll now hand you over to our speaker.
Thank you for the handover. I deeply appreciate it. Om Shanti. Hi, everyone. It's very nice to be with you today. If you happen to be curious about where I'm located right now, I'm what I would always call in the jaws of the lion here in the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., where I've been for the last, I think about 23 years now. It's been 23 years. And I have to say, I don't think I've ever felt the energy in Washington, D.C. so, on one level vibrant, and on another level quite ridden with anxiety and fear. And so when Magla was sharing about my introduction, building bridges is definitely my call in this lifetime. And I think it's natural because I'm half African and half Indian. And so talk about bridge building. That's just in my karmic formula, no matter what. Even if I want to run away from it, that's just what I am. And I've often really appreciated that particular role that I was ordained to play in this lifetime. I am so happy to be with all of you. I am so happy to be in South Africa. We have one of your favorite icons of all in America, Trevor Noah, who everybody loves to the ground that they walk on. And I was actually with Trevor, I think it was about a year and a half ago. I was invited by Oprah at the Apollo Theater where they were filming a Super Soul segment. And I had the privilege and the first time to meet Trevor live. And I tell you, and it's something that I'll say over and over and over again, some of the most brilliant intellects come out of South Africa. He is so intelligent and has such a depth that it's hard to describe. But thank you. Thank you for sharing with us one of your incredible contributions, which is Trevor Noah, to America and I'm sure the rest of the world. So, why don't we do what I like to do best? Start us off with some music and set the tone, and then we'll go into our time together. But first and foremost, may I invite everybody who is tuning in to just consider yourself not on a Zoom meeting. Whatever you might be doing or wherever you are, invite your whole inner world into a space where you can just feel at home and comfortable. And whether you're moving around the house or with your friends or outside just listening in, set yourself in and imagine like we're all together in each other's living room or spaces, just having a heart-to-heart chit-chat with each other about life and about each other, and what are some of our dreams and goals, and what do we think we want to do, after this pandemic or after whatever this is. I use a very simple word, which everyone laughs when they hear me use it. I'll just say it's weird. I could use a million different words from the Oxford Dictionary, and it doesn't matter where I am, whether I'm at the White House, Capitol Hill, or right here in my own space, I'll just say it's weird. Weird means I just can't explain it, and nobody else can either. But what I do know for sure, it's time for us to really take this opportunity to try to understand who we really are and what's the purpose of our lives at this time, and especially in this particular time, and to begin to sort through what maybe our strengths are and what our limitations might be, and what we don't want to take with us post-pandemic. 2020 has been, I don't know if you want to say a grueling year, but we just lost another wonderful icon here, Chadwick, and that was pretty sad, in which he passed away with stage 4 cancer, and it's a big thing. It's a lot of changes going on, and we're thinking a lot right now, and we are looking for some new beginnings. So before we go in our time together, just really relax, and let's just call a friend, text a friend, feel free to email a friend or share this link. There might be something quite meaningful that will emerge from our time together. So enjoy this song that was produced by one of our retreats. I host a really popular radio show called America Meditating Radio. And we hosted a retreat with a lot of eloquent leaders, from Lynn McTaggart to Jean Houston, Carolyn Mace, Marianne Williamson, Michael Beckwith, Carlton Bishop, if you know a few of them. And Kristen Hoffman came on at the beginning of the retreat to set the tone. And she did a song entitled Om Shanti. And Om means I'm a soul, and Shanti means peace. And the way Kristen sung this song, everyone, it really made us realize that the next to normal is that despite whatever chaos is percolating around us, I have to stay in my Om Shanti. So I wanted to gift you this sneak preview, which it's going to be premiered on September 18th, the original track and the original video. But you are getting a sneak preview of the song today. So enjoy it.
Do you hear it singing? We are this voice together. We are this voice together. We make this choice together. We make this choice together. Om Shanti. We're singing Om Shanti.
I trust that you could feel the energy and the vibrations from that very beautiful expression of the deep call within, that deep need for Shanti, for peace, which for me, I really feel would be our new beginnings, to walk into a place of peace. But what I'd like to do is to kind of set a little context of our time together. Many, many years ago, when I was about 17, my parents, my mother, who was African, and at the time she had remarried, and so my stepfather was an African American. And they had bumped into a particular way of meditation, which was entitled Raj Yoga meditation. And at the time, my parents were quite unique. They were very different, different than I was for sure, especially from my Indian side of my father, who was very straight-laced and noble and very quiet. But they attended an event, and at that event, the conversation in Miami was about being one-pointed. And apparently when they attended that event of being one-pointed, to focus on just what is of essence to you, like what's really important, they came home different people, and they were never the same after that. And what I'd come to realize was that there was an awakening that had taken place in them just from what they heard from the speaker. It was a mentor of mine. Her name is Daddy Janki. She had passed away in March of 27 of this year. An incredible personality, I have to say. If you've never heard of her or seen her, take some time and Google her. Daddy Janki, D-A-D-I-J-A-N-K-I. 104 years old, everyone. 104 years of wisdom. That's who my mother had met over 35 years ago. And she came back a different person. And I'd like to tell you how different she had become. She had her new beginnings. My mother was orphaned at 7. And she had to take care of her 2 siblings. And at the time it was in Kingston, Jamaica. So can you imagine what orphanages were like in those days? And I don't want to go through how absolutely dreadful her beginning years were at 7 onwards. That she even had me when she was just, 17. The good thing was that my father and my father's family was responsible enough to take on the role of responsibility. And then I was born. And so here I am, partially looking at Hindu, Indian values and ways of living on one side of the track, and then on another side, I'm looking at a mother who was Roman Catholic and very, very, very bruised, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And I never had the opportunity to ever choose which one I thought would be the better parent or who would be the one that I would listen to. I guess it might just be a personal karmic boon or blessing. I just would somehow go inwards and check what I thought was right and what I thought maybe was not. And so I just want you to see that whilst I was growing up, here was one side of my life that showed all these images of gods and practices and values and virtues of a different quality. And then I would be with my mother, and there was this praying to Jesus and praying to the cross, and there seemed to have been just a lot of suffering and pain and trauma. And as I navigated through that as a young child, not really ever finding the right language, it's just my dad was so happy with Krishna, and then my mother's crying with Jesus on the cross, and I don't really know who God is or what I'm supposed to do, but if I ever find the energy, I'm pretty sure I'll find out what that is. So just growing up with that energy, I think it made me non-judgmental, and pretty much I tend to live in the middle of life. Like if someone's doing something bad, well, maybe it's not their bad, maybe it's just what they know. Because I've come to learn that as a soul and as an energy, we've all acquired a particular level of vibration, that vibration manifests our reality. And it's not that I have the right or the privilege to blame anyone for whatever's happening in my life, but rather, why is this situation or circumstance revolving around my story? Why is this happening around me? And what is it that I perhaps need to plant for me as a new beginning? So when I actually started to grow up and realize that I tend to stay in the middle and not judge people, I have a very good track record of being the least judgmental person you'll ever meet in your entire life. And I remembered I was on an interview with Michael Beckwith, and he's very well known, and I've known him for years. And one of the things he's always said is like, I need to make you the queen of no judgment, because it's just not even in your energy. And I thought about that many years later when I would hear about that. And I have to say that it's connected to my upbringing. When you love two parents the same, and both are so different, you can't judge one over the other. And so I think that origin of my journey kind of made me the person that I am, where I've kind of stayed in the middle of the journey of life, just kind of looking and observing, learning from my right, and looking and observing and learning from my left, and trying to see what can I learn and what can I develop from these particular individuals, circumstances, or situations that it feels like life wants me to learn and develop. So years have passed for everyone, and my mother now, has found meditation and yoga, and she's found her community with the Brahma Kumaris. And I have to tell you, prior to that, she was a Rastafarian. I don't know how she converted to Judaism, but she did. Knowing her, she would have forced her way in a synagogue or something. She was a Hindu. She had a guru. She tried Unity Church and all of that. And when I eventually saw her with study of Raj Yoga, and she was practicing that, I just thought to myself, it's just a matter of time until she finds something else. But I have to say to you that what had actually taken place was that I had noticed that there was a real kind of a deep shift about her, like something deep within her had changed. And I just knew that was something that was appealing to me, was her transformation that I had seen. There was a new beginning, and I didn't see all of her bruisedness anymore. So I had seen the benefits of meditation and yoga and what it had on her. So seeing that, I still went the other way. I was saying to myself, I can never do anything spiritual or anything that peaceful. I just don't have it in me. And it's so interesting as I reflect on my life and talking with you all about new beginnings and where we get to. These unfolding scenes tend to take you to many new beginnings even though you don't know it. So I eventually, after seeing her hold on for so long and her literally changing in front of my eyes, everyone, my mother, who was abandoned, abused, traumatized, taken advantage of, violated, in front of my eyes within, I don't know, 2 years or so, had become an angel. And there was something just so powerful about that, because she was so different. The whole time she was so different. And so when I started to develop my own sense of awakenings and looking at my life, I just always used to go back to that scene. It's just something so powerful about her change. So knowing that I wasn't into anything spiritual, I ended up buying 2 nightclubs, which I loved. Oh my gosh, I loved those clubs, everybody. It was the highlight. And they were so successful. And I had one nightclub in South Beach, Miami, and another one in Key Biscayne, Florida. And I was like the queen dame of the club industry back in the days, you know, this is like many years ago. And as much as I loved those days, and there was one particular scene that was my new beginning. And I had been connected with my mother and the spiritual community of the Brahma Kumaris who's hosting this, and I loved the sisters and how sweet they were, and whatever they needed I would offer. I just knew that it was just not my cup of tea at all. But I remembered, everybody, one day I had a beautiful condominium overlooking the Atlantic. I'm about 23 now, living on my own. And at the time I was dating the son of a prime minister. And I went down in my parking lot of the condo, and there was my Mercedes, BMW, and a Jaguar. And for that moment, I was so stressed. I was like, which car am I going to take today? And I was stressed out. And that was the moment where my new beginnings started. And I don't know what it was, but there was something inside of me that just said, what's wrong with you? This is your stress? And then all the memories of my interactions with the sisters at the centers, you know, and all their sweetness and all their love. And even when I used to read some of the teachings or stories that they would tell me, I remembered how it used to open me up, but I didn't know what to do with my openings. I just used to go back to the world that I was used to, you know, clubbing and running my business and traveling around the world and, being whatever I'm supposed to be, in those days. But at about 25, I was in the country that I was dating the son of the Prime Minister, and I just had this very deep moment. You might not believe this, but I was on a motorcycle being driven about 100 miles an hour. Talk about fun and reckless. You have no idea. And I had this incredible experience of just being beyond that scene, beyond that moment. And I had this deep kind of awakening or memory of this energy of God's light, like it was calling me, like it was very soft, it was very peaceful. Even though I'm on this bike, emotionally, spiritually, I've gone into a completely different zone. I'm holding on for dear life, whee, and then all of a sudden, I'm in another world, right? And this call started to come for me. And it was from that day my new beginnings started. And I went to the Brahma Kumaris meditation center, and I just told the sister what happened, and she's like, looks like it's going to be your time. And I just looked at her and go, no way, over my dead body, this is not for me. I'm going to get everybody else, but this ain't for me. And what was happening was I was living my regular life, which at the time I thought is fine with me. I'm comfortable with it. But there was something more. There was something more waiting for me, and I had no idea. And I think that's exactly where we all are. As a result of this pandemic, we might have been living our lives like everything was okay, or we had ups and downs, challenges, ins and outs. Maybe during the pandemic, there have been even greater stresses than we had before. Maybe job insecurity, financial insecurity. Maybe we're at home with someone that we never really got enough time to really sit with and know more about, and maybe we've had to adjust, or maybe we've embraced. But I'm sure there are some new beginnings taking place for you, because nobody has a date that they can basically declare for themselves. On this day, September the 5th, 2020, I'm going to have my new beginning and my new awakening, and I'm not turning back. And so when we look at the new beginnings, we look at the energy behind our eye, because everything that's happening to us behind our eye is actually happening for us. It is the soul that is actually looking for a deeper experience, deeper meaning, more insights, more light, more enlightenment, more awakening. And this global pandemic has definitely become, we can call it an inconvenient reality, but it has definitely become a real deal for us to awaken into ourselves and awaken to maybe a part of ourselves that we haven't visited for a very, very long time. For a very, very long time. So when we look at our new beginnings, the first place that we can begin to focus our attention would be the energy behind our eye. Because when I had my first awakening and experience, it wasn't in front of me. I wasn't seeing me in front of me. I wasn't even seeing the things I was having inside of my mind in front of these two eyes. And the world that I was seeing in front of me with my eyes didn't connect with the world I was feeling behind my eye. And what I've been hearing from a lot of people nowadays is that there is an awakening happening where all of the distractions that we've been so used to, whether it's going out to the ball game or going out to a party or going to friends' homes or going to the theater or going to restaurants and stuff, all of those have paused for now. And that leaves us with just me, myself, and I. And of course, whoever's around me, but it just leaves me with me. And if you haven't taken the time to try to understand how absolutely beautiful and powerful you are, then this pandemic became the crisis to turn our attention or your attention inwards to a point that you had to see all the ugly stuff that you were running away from. But the longer you keep journeying inwards, you would eventually get to the pearl. Like, you eventually get to the pearl or to the diamond or to the richness that the soul really is. As we search for meaning or clarity, or we search to try to navigate our way out of this, we're looking through so many areas in life that seem so uncertain. Governments are uncertain. If you're listening to the news of the government in the United States of America, it's like a reality television show right now. And many of us have decided just, we don't even listen to it. If I don't go on my Twitter handle, I don't get updated. And once in a blue moon, I'll catch up. And now in the United States of America, we're approaching a voting season, and it's already becoming tumultuous. So you have to kind of decipher, I mean, what's going on with our governments? Are they telling us the truth? Do they really care for you? Then you have health issues and, health crises that are going on with the pandemic and even beyond that. Then we have our human relationships that have mattered the most are now walking away from us. Relationships that we never knew were so valuable are now coming closer to us. Then we have financial troubles. Either it's coming or it's leaving or it's not coming at all. There are all these areas that we're grappling with right now that the soul is just not certain how to deal with it. And what sort of a discernment do I apply in order to understand how do I show up with my government, with my relationship, with my money, with my health? How do I, as a being, show up? So what I've learned for myself at a personal level, even with my own awakening that I've had for so many years, I've shown up to realize that it's time that we, all of us in the world, we don't have any more time, nor do we have permission to lie to ourselves anymore. And I'd like you to really think about that. Because what I've understood, liars will never heal themselves. And until we become truthful about the person that we believe we are, until we do that, until we become truthful with who we're supposed to be, we will continue to lie and manipulate and steal. And then that creates such a burden that we don't even know how to walk into anything new because we've not been honest enough with ourselves, nor truthful enough with ourselves to allow a new door to open for us. This pandemic has actually given us keys that can open new doors if we're open and honest enough and courageous and curious enough to walk through them, to literally walk through them. So when I look at one of the reasons why I believe we're in this particular condition, I'd like you to write down the acronym that I've used on many occasions. It's called algae. And I know what algae means, so I don't need a definition for that. I already got that figured out. But I'm only using it as an acronym, okay? So the A stands for anger. The L is lust. G for greed. A for attachment. And E for ego. And I believe with my whole heart and soul, everyone, the reason why we're in this state of uncertainty, anxiety, fear, doubt, is because of this energy that has been feeding itself in our consciousness for such a long time. Look, for example, I'll tell you how algae works. I have a knife, and I can take this knife and cut into a tomato. And the consciousness in using this knife is a utensil to cut into a tomato for food to be shared to my loved ones. So I'm cutting peacefully and lovingly to share. If there's algae in my consciousness, I have a knife, but the algae transforms the interpretation of the knife, and instead of a utility, it becomes a weapon. And as a weapon, I choose to use this knife to hold somebody up, to take their money. See the difference? Consciousness. So if I'm living in a space in my own mind where I'm questioning myself, I'm scared, I'm jealous of other people's progress, I compete with people, I criticize people, I judge them, I complain, I don't have enough, and all of that. It's this energy of algae that I keep feeding over and over and over and over and over and over again, that it almost becomes my nature to just think from that place. So as much as I want something new for me, I'm using an old paradigm. And what this pandemic has done for all of us is that I believe it has us looking at our algae. And it has us giving us an opportunity to decide and discern and choose what energy within your being do you want to feed. The algae, anger, lust, greed, attachment, ego, or the opposite to algae. Peace, purity, joy, love, or self-respect or truth. You're going to feed one or the other. And I believe the new beginning that we're all approaching, if we're opened and we are awakening, is that the algae is coming to an end, and the new beginning, which is the original nature of the soul, peace, purity, joy, love, self-respect, these qualities, they're coming to the surface. Do you know why? So many of our materialism, that consciousness of materialism, it's gone. How many shoes can you now wear outside? And how many outfits can you show off to your friends outside? None. We have a joke in America. So many folks just leave on their pajamas every day. And I'm like, how does someone do that? Like, I wouldn't know how to do it. Every day I still get up and put on my sari, and I feel like I've got somewhere to go, even though I've only gone from the kitchen to the bedroom. That's it. So I think that there's a need for us to really begin to recognize how this crisis is actually giving us an opportunity to birth and to remind us of the original nature of the self. And what's happening is the attachments to our labels are breaking away. the name, the gender, the role, the religion, the image. I know so many friends who are celebrities. There's no gigs for them anymore. None. And they don't know what to do. And they're posting a lot of things on their Instagram, and they're showing you what they're cooking today, and they're showing you that they're going jogging today. And I get that. But what I want to see is, well, how are you feeling? I want you to post, what are your realizations? What are some of the struggles that you're going through during the pandemic? What are you navigating through? What's your new beginning? So that you can use your platform to awaken souls. And I feel another benefit about this time for our new beginning is that there's a call happening, that I want to be of more service. That my life is calling me to have greater meaning. And in order for us to be able to bring that forth, we're going to have to let go of a lot of old attachments. And what I want to do is to invite us into a meditation that I did a while back. And I asked myself this question, and I'd like you to do the same today. What if I wasn't my name or my gender, or my role and my religion? And how would I as a soul, that energy behind my eye, how would I then feel if all of the trappings, all of this, were to go? Then who would I be? Wouldn't I be the same person? Wouldn't I be that same soul rather sitting in that body, wanting to be filled with love and feeling that my energy recorded in the soul is protected because of all of my good deeds, and that there is love and peace and happiness in my life? So I'm going to play this meditation for you, and it's my wish that as you settle into the vibration of the meditation and the guiding of the meditation, just observe what the soul feels, and let this be this time, just to nurture your spirit at a sincere and deep level. And when we come back, we can talk a little bit and get some questions and answers if you're curious to continue with our conversation a little bit longer. Om Shanti. As I sit here in quiet reflection, I'm reminded how my thoughts create my reality. I've accepted that I am what I am because of what I think. So what if for this moment I choose to let go of my various attachments to physical forms that have limited my potential and my capacity? What if I chose to be free from limitations of thinking? So just for a little while, I invite you to take a deep breath. Inhale and exhale. And imagine for a moment, what if I no longer had an attachment to my name? How would that feel? What if I let go of the awareness of the gender? What if I let go of the roles that I play, the titles that I own? What if I decided to release thinking of myself as a religion, a language, a nationality? What if I choose to just let go of the name, gender, role, title, religion, language, nationality, and let go of the awareness of the body? How would I feel? Who would think of me in this awareness? And who would I think of? I would think of God. And God's remembrance would fall on me. And I, the living soul, would be completely free. Let me just sit in this moment for a little longer and just be free. Now gently bring back the awareness of your gender, language, nationality, title, role, name, religion, whatever. Bring it back to your awareness and see if you can bring the experience of freedom and peace as you go out into the world and play your various parts. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. I hope that took you to that place. That place that we all want to live from. It's a place of deep sense of freedom. The other morning I woke up and I was asking myself, what do I actually think of myself? Not what people have told me they think of me. That's a completely different cup of tea. But what do you really think of yourself? And you try that experiment and you begin to see there might be two opposite personalities living in you, And so when we break away from all those labels, we thought so much of ourselves in those labels, those attachments to all those roles and people and things. It's given us so much sorrow to be attached to a physical, limited form when the soul has so much potential. And the soul is so unlimited and it just wants to breathe that. The soul just wants to live the splendor of its existence. And I believe this with my heart and soul. Not only is this new beginning about us turning inwards and becoming aware of who we are, but I just feel this energy of God's vibration and presence and subtlety and divinity and silence. It's like it's going to keep touching that space within us, that consciousness. He's going to be, this energy of God is like going, okay, now that you've stopped looking for me outside, maybe now you can simply just pause for a little bit and remember me from behind your eye, and just remember how much I have to offer you, how much love I have in store for you, how much peace I have in store for you. So when I look at this time of new beginnings, I see a deep spiritual awakening, a very deep, intimate connection to Source, to God. Not a fundamental type, just a very natural, gentle, authentic relationship with Source. And then I also see that we're going to become more accountable to the thoughts that we think, the words that we speak, and the choices that we make. Because there's nothing else we can do, because all of that is connected to I, the soul, and how I'm going to survive this particular period in time. Will I do it with grace and with blessings and with beauty, because I'm feeding the awakening of my real self, the peace, the purity, the love? Or am I going to allow the algae to keep taking me into a dark place where there's just stuff that are beyond, it's just beyond my control, you know? So this is our choice, and I think this is our new beginnings. And I think I've blabbed on long enough, and I hope I haven't bored everyone to death, but I just wanted to really share from just where I am and from a place of the heart, which is where I have always come from. But it's such a profound time to do something new, everyone, to think new, to be new, to show up new. It's a great time for that. So I'm curious if there are any questions. I don't know if it's time for that. I hope I'm not changing anyone's program or anything like that. Okay, all right, all right. So if you liked the meditation, I think you can get it on the Meditation Museum YouTube. So if you just go to meditationmuseum.org or Meditation Museum YouTube, you'll find the What If meditation, if you're interested in getting that. So I'm all yours. I'll wait.
Hello, Sister Jenna.
Hi, Megala. Thanks for having us on.
Hi. So I wanted to know from everyone who's present whether they would like to ask Sister Jenna any questions. Sister Jenna, there's a question from, I need to get this name right, Catherine Lecter, and she asks, how can we be free when we have responsibilities? How can we be free when we have responsibilities? Sister Jenna, before you answer that question, I would like to tell all of our viewers who are joining us from YouTube and not on Zoom that if they do have any questions for you, they must please put it on their chat under the comment section of YouTube. And Sister Nita, who's hosting us today, will bring those questions to our Zoom chat. Okay, thank you.
So how can I be free with a whole bunch of responsibilities? Well, my dear Catherine, you will be free when you really fulfill the responsibilities. And I think we need to recognize freedom as a state of mind. If I approach life as if I'm the only one who can fix this, or if I approach it from a place of fear or doubt, then because of the consciousness that I'm approaching my duties and my responsibilities with, I'm not free. Your freedom will come from a level of attitude that you have nurtured within your being. And that's why I had offered the idea of the algae versus the real self. So the real state of the self, soul awareness, when you are working from the energy behind your eye, you will naturally begin to resonate with the energy of peace and the energy of love that you really are. And those vibrations, Catherine, are really liberating feelings. So as you're paying the bills or taking care of the kids or cleaning the house or going to work or running your multi-million-dollar corporation, if you can practice bringing in that feeling into the responsibility, you will feel a sense of freedom. We closed our meditation museums from March 16th. And just, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, we started a new show called The Next Normal. But prior to that, Catherine, we produced 150 shows. And that's not including all the meetings and all the other recordings that we've done during that period, and not including all the other meetings. And I can swear in my life, it never felt like a burden. There wasn't one day I showed up feeling like I didn't want to be there. And you know why? I didn't allow the thoughts of questions or doubts or wanting to be somewhere else other than where I was to split my energy. So sometimes our lack of freedom also comes because I feel the grass might be greener on the other side. And I'll tell you from experience, it is not. If you can just put the best of you into what you've got right now, just do it. But here's something I've been working on recently. I'm looking at my inner world, the consciousness within, okay? As if my consciousness is like an alcove or like a womb. And inside of that alcove is an image that I hold of myself or an image that society has imposed on me. But I'm also aware that the energy of that in my subconscious, which is where this alcove is in my subconscious, that it's so intense that it has created everything around me, and there are a lot of things I don't want around me. And I'm sure you've seen for your own lives, you've done everything right, but yet things don't show up right for you. So what's responsible for that? It's that energy, deep-rooted energy in your subconscious. We also say it's in your chit, or another language that we use is a Sanskrit word. We say it's in your sanskaras. They're very, very deep recordings of this particular birth that you're in. And if you believe in more than one birth, there are really deep memories of the past that we're still traveling with. And that vibration is creating the stuff around. So sometimes we don't feel mentally free because they're still traveling with us. Which is why we need to decide, let me come from a place of understanding. The original nature of the soul is love, and it is peace. And I have to fulfill these duties. But, if there's an energy recorded in me very deeply, in my subconscious, that is creating these things that I don't feel comfortable with, then replace that energy. Try to go deep into that alcove of your subconscious and remove that image that you don't want to have vibrating what it's been vibrating for so long. And replace it with that energy in you, that image. In Indian culture, we have the deities. Is there a deity that represents a particular quality that you feel is yours? And that's the quality you want to manifest the things around you. So I've given you like a whole bunch of options in terms of your question, because I'm at that place with you too, where I really am moving towards a deeper sense of inner freedom, don't want to carry any baggage of anything that doesn't belong in the future or in my new beginnings, which is a world that has no sorrow. So I hope that helped a little bit. Any other thoughts?
Okay, Sister Jenna, the next question that we have is, how can you have it experience that soul peace when you're in the middle of conflict that others try to put you in? This question comes from T. Rai Jones.
Hi, T. Rai Jones.
Oh, and Catherine Lecter says, thank you, Sister Jenna. Your answer makes sense. So thank you from the previous question.
Thank you, Catherine. And Tira Jones, I can honestly respond to you, which is how I always will. You won't be able to respond peacefully when people are trying to put you into chaos if you haven't been taking care of yourself. That's the first thing. The second thing I would suggest is the fact that you know that you're in an energy environment where people are trying to bring you into their chaos, then you now must recognize, I need to protect myself from this vibration. So how do I do that, and where do I begin? Focus your attention behind your eye and keep reminding yourself, who am I here? What's my original purpose here? What's my original religion? What's my original nature? And if you can go back and even start to feel your inner peace by feeding that peace, not when they're pulling you in the chaos, before they're pulling you in their chaos. If you can start to nurture yourself, Tere, before you get into that condition, you're going to be okay when they try to pull you into chaos, because you were taking care of yourself beforehand. So I recommend you try something that I love in the Brahma Kumaris community, is something called traffic control, and so many folks participate with it, where we pause every hour on the hour. You can try with 1 minute to 3 minutes. Start with where your thoughts are at that moment of your pause, and just see, how am I feeling? Where am I right now? And then from that place, after you can distinguish what that is, just say, but my nature is peace. I am a peaceful soul. I am a powerful soul. I am pure. And as you keep nurturing yourself like that, very sincerely, being very sincere is very important on your path of spirituality. Just keep doing that on a regular basis, little by little, Terere, and you'll find that you will eventually be able to cope with anyone who's trying to bring you into any chaos. Your peace just might help to calm them down. Okay? Was that helpful? Terere Jones, that's such a nice name. I almost feel like calling you T-Ray.
Thank you, Sister Jenna. The next, Sister Jenna,
I'm here, Magella.
Hope you can hear me. I'm having.
I can. Don't worry.
Okay, I'm glad you can hear me, because I'm having connection problems on my side. Okay, so the next question is, how do we deal with toxic family? ... Do we stay away, or ... Do we cut them off without causing pain? This comes from Sherry Vital.
Who does this come from?
Sherry Vital.
Oh, Sherry, just move to an island, please. Just go to a tropical island. I tell you, man, those family members of ours, you just have to love them, you know? First thing, don't see them as toxic. That's the first thing. Hey, I have a mother who is going through, she's been a meditation teacher and an instrument. She has uplifted so many. She's now in her case of Alzheimer's and dementia. And Sherry, the antics and the things that she carries on with in a day, we're like Om Shanti, you know, and we have to accept that's her part, that's her role, that's who she is. And what happens is when you start to understand, and this is really important, Sherry, we have to understand that all the souls in our lives, every single one of them, are exactly the way they're supposed to be. And I have no business in trying to control them or make them who I want them to be. Whether they're going through dementia, or they're on top of their game, or they're the wealthiest, or the poorest, or the meanest, or the sweetest. They are where they are because of the energy that has been lived through their beings for this life and maybe others in the past. And Sherry, for your peace of mind, if you happen to be in the same home with them and you're still in lockdown, and the moment you start to focus on their issues and their negativity, you're going to get infected by their stuff. So I'm going to invite you to do this practice, and I'd like to invite everybody who's watching to do this along with me. Anybody in your home or in your spaces or even your government, whoever it might be, I want you to go inwards for a little bit. And I'd like you to emerge them on the screen of your mind. And I'd like you to bless them. Just send them your love and your good wishes and wish them to be benefited. And as you send your vibrations that you wish for their lives to be benefited, observe how you are feeling exactly at this moment as you do that. So Sherry, that's your opportunity. You will either think about their struggles and their weaknesses, which are their own, or you have to step into your power and be who you want to be, which is someone who has love, dignity, grace, power, conviction, worth, beauty, happiness, purity, love. You've got such a smorgasbord of options to choose from. How Sherry wants to show up in this family of hers. Because if you focus on your relatives and their stuff, it ain't going to work. You know, I get caught up with so many people in some of my family members and communities, and they judge, they criticize, they compare, they gossip, they talk about you. I don't have time for it. I focus on what God's telling me to do and what I feel my heart wants and what my heart is doing. I live a life of principle. I won't talk about anybody. I won't feel any harm or do any harm about anyone. What you have to do right now, Sherry, clean up your act, take care of yourself. They will eventually take care of themselves. And if you can raise your vibrations, I guarantee it, they'll feel it. Something will give. Because we're all carrying a particular energy as a result of our past. And we can't go back there. But we can definitely begin to use the right energy right now to make some changes. So I wish you all the best, and try not to, you know, they might be, you know, find a different language. Instead of toxic, I would say they're unique. You know, I would say, oh, my family, you know, they're special, you know. So I would use language that would keep my energy not getting infected, because most importantly is you want to keep your mind clean and clear. There was something that my spiritual mentor, Daddy Janki, left behind, so many jewels, but one in particular that I deeply loved. And she said, this is the time to keep your heart clean and clear. That means even if I think of anyone in my family as less than, not good enough, if I isolate them, if I criticize them, if I'm jealous about them, that's not a clean and clear heart. So still, I've got my own issues, right? So you want to make sure you pay attention to yourself, Sherry. Keep yourself up and running. It's all on you. Okay? Oh, Sherry, and even if you're planning to go away on to an island and sneak away for a little bit, you have permission to do so. But also, if it gets just too much in the house, just do some work outside or just go for a walk, or something that I do that gives me a lot of joy is that I play my favorite music. And I love music. And one of the things that I'm also trying to do, my days are like packed. But even if I have like 15 minutes, I'll sit at the piano and just try to learn piano. Focus on how do I develop myself rather than waste my time and energy here thinking about, oh my God, look at what this one just did. Oh my gosh, this one, this one, this one. It's just a waste of time. And our new beginnings will require you and me. We can't waste a second of our lives anymore. It's too priceless. So we have to really value every moment. Magella?
Okay. Thank you, Sister Jenna. Sherry says, thank you, sister, for reminding me we are love and peace, Om Shanti, and wow, new beginnings. So gratitude message from the one from whom the question came.
Thank you,
Okay,
Sherry.
so we have another question. In this time we are in, how does our relationship with others manifest?
Could you come again one more time with the question?
I'm reading it out exactly as it is. In this time we are in, how does our relationship manifest? Sorry, in this time we are in, how does our relationship with others manifest?
It depends. Are you establishing new relationships virtually like we are? I found that the virtual connection, there's a special kind of intimacy with it, but there's also an element of detachment. So maybe we're showing up in a way more authentic than before. I don't know. So again, I go back to the way we need to establish all relationships is to be as truthful as you can be with where you are at that time. Many of us, especially I can remember in my younger days, there were times when you thought that you had to show up in a particular way that was needed for other people or by other people. And even when you did that and it was like you crossed your I's, you dotted your T's, it seemed like it still wasn't enough because they were looking for something at a deeper vibrational level from you, and then you weren't happy because you weren't genuine to yourself. So I think the way that we need to show up across the board in any relationship, virtual or real, is to show up with honestly where you are, where you think you are within yourself, and try not to project and be someone that you are not. I know it's hard when you're a teenager or when you're in your 20s. It tend to be really difficult because you're still trying to sort yourself out. When you get to your 30s, there's some bruises, you're kind of getting there. And then when you're in your 40s, you should be pretty solid. But then when you're 50s, you pretty much know this is who I am, and I don't need you to come and tell me this or that. But at the same token, still always be curious and open for growth, because we can learn from each other all the time. And today's Teacher's Day, I think it's Happy Teacher's Day. So we can learn from each other all the time if we're open. So I would look at the relationships of these times. It shouldn't be any different. You should still show up in your relationships truthful, present. If you're intoxicated and excited about something, you let them know. If you're sad and low about something, you let folks know. If you're scared and uncertain, let folks know. What happens is that we're constantly wearing these masks, and they're not enough for people and they're not enough for us. So it doesn't create healthy relationships, you know. I've seen so much, you know, so many people do things to appease other people because they feel it's important to get something, to want something. They want credit, they want recognition and stuff. And I remembered me being there in my 20s and the early part of maybe my 30s. But over time, I was just like, I don't want to play that game. I just want to be whatever this is that I am behind my eyes. It's going to be good enough for me, and it has to be good enough for others. And if people don't like it, I'm okay with it. Little by little, you need to recognize your worth, and then you engage in your relationships with people based on that recognition. But always, always be humble and open enough to see, what can I learn from this person? And it could establish more meaningful relationships. And another thing that I like to do, because I have a lot of friends, I love friends, a lot of people know I love friends. I'm like a friend person. I like to ask the right questions. I like to trigger questions based on things that I'm curious about. And somehow it really establishes a good, meaningful moment between me and another person. It's not just always about what I think you want to hear. It's just, I'm curious to hear, what do you think about this? And that has always helped. So I hope that helped and it was a practical response. Magella, you there?
I'm here. So the next question we have is from BK Lily, who says, hi, sister. Being in a
Hi,
big
BK
family,
Lily.
is detachment practical as kids and husband and relatives are emotional and mentally attached to you? So,
No, so
Sister,
BK Lily, so once you're with a family and you're seeing those same people every day, day in, day out, and you're doing things for those people, naturally you will build some attachment. Please don't suppress it. Please don't resist the feeling. Please don't fight it. I don't recommend it. It'll only keep growing. But something that I have been practicing for years, Lily, I have been practicing to love everybody the same. That means the way I would treat my mother, who's also a teacher and a meditation teacher, I would treat my brother, my friend that comes over to the center, a person who comes into the center for the first time. So over a long period of time, Lily, I've been practicing to see everybody with that same energy. And what I've recognized is that my energy level of attachment started to reduce slowly. That's one. The second thing is I have, of course, as you and I know, as maybe students of the Brahma Kumaris, I suspect, because you're BK Lily, when you have a very intimate, private relationship with the divine, and that's a very sacred part of you, and that's a sacred space, which captures a lot of your emotions and a lot of your needs. And so it's not that you need to depend on the family to respond the way you need them to respond. So just know that when you're the carrier of that light, then you're just sharing that light with the family. So it's not about detachment, because sometimes when you say detachment, it has a little bit of ego in it, and it's still not fully balanced. But I would say, love everybody in the house the same, continuously, and watch how your level of detachment starts to happen naturally. So you don't take sides with people and you don't get that affected as much. You just really start to move with a little bit more grace. Trust me on this one. You'll start to feel instant results the minute you start to practice it. Practical stuff, right, Magella?
Yeah, extremely practical, and I'm sure it resonated with Lily. Okay, so I think that brings us to the end of our questions. I don't know if any of the other, not sure if any of the other co-hosts would like to share anything. But Sister Jenna, Dr. Jenna, I am sure everyone listening to you today took a lot of benefit from how personally you share and how heartfelt you reach people, and not the least of which is your very soothing voice. So thank you for what you had to share today.
Thank
It was an
you.
intimate journey into spirituality, and it also gave people tools as to how to be and how to function during the pandemic, which has, caught everyone off broadside. So many blessings from the continent of Africa for the half an hour that you shared with us. Many have taken benefit, and I'm sure your words will resonate with our listeners for many months to come. You've given everyone food for thought. So, on behalf of the South African family, many blessings and lots of love. And thank you so much for what you had to share today.
Thank you, Magella, and everyone there in South Africa. Um, it really is our time to rise up. It's no more time for playing games up here, but the energy behind the eye is so powerful. Please, I'm asking all of you who perhaps are curious about getting onto the path of meditation or yoga or spirituality, or let's say you've just bumped into this, or let's say you've been connected to some of the centers there with the Brahma Kumaris. I can speak from a woman, a person, an instrument, a sister, somebody who's seen the world, somebody who has invested herself in the other world, the world of light and spirituality. There's nothing more worthy to do right now for our new beginnings than to become clean and pure inside. And that will be the treasure and the value of our lives. However all of this turns out, however it turns out, let it be that when you look into the mirror, you like what you see. And you like the energy that comes through you because you've done the work. And you've been honest enough to know that you always had what it took to make your life worth a diamond. So thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart. Lots of love from the nation's capital, and sending you just 100,000-fold pure feelings and good wishes to each and every one of you. Take very, very good care.
Thank you, Sister Jenna, and many blessings from South Africa as well. There's many thank yous coming in at the end of the chat, and heartfelt gratitude from the listeners. So I hope you're receiving the blessings from their heart for what you shared today.
Thank you. I am. I've been very open to doing that. I don't know if you have another minute or two, but I could just
Yes,
share.
we have time.
Yeah. A month and a half ago, I had this wonderful health opportunity, and from my health opportunity, I had come to realize that I didn't know this until the opportunity came. So like even the pandemic, it's giving us opportunities of things that we didn't even know was there. And I didn't know that I struggled with receiving love. And my definition of receiving love was always on the giving side, Magella. So it was like when I was bestowing and giving, and which is what we all love to do, especially as instruments, we're like, oh, let me give, let me share, let's offer, let's be. And there was love coming back automatically because I was giving. So with my health opportunity, I was like, oh, okay, so sit. And now you're going to give me love? Oh, okay, so how do I do that? And I had realized how every situation in life, everyone, will offer you a prize. It'll offer you a gift. And you will get to another level of your life, and another level, and another level. And so even though the pandemic and all of this is chaotic and crazy, there's another level, and another level, and another level, and something more that wants to awaken you to really unlimited new beginnings. And so all you have to do is show up. Just show up, and you'll see the wonder that wants to take place in your life. So it's just so many things, Megala, that we've been given now as a gift. It's just been remarkable. So turn off your TV and all those negative stuff. Come up with some creative stuff for you. Do the things you've always wanted to do. Learn an instrument, write a book, go over some of your stuff, clean out those old drawers, right? You know, all the things that you've wanted to do, and sometimes just take some silence and go into your alcove of your subconscious, and see if there's an image you can replace that other one with, one that will vibrate a kind of energy that you sense and feel. This is the future I want to walk into. This is the one I want. Okay, angels of light, shall we do a moment of silence together, or I'll take your lead,
Yes.
Magella?
I don't think anyone would have an objection if you do one of your magnificent meditation commentaries.
Oh wait, we have a
So,
new one that's coming out. Do you have the one from Ricky Cage? No? Okay. So I'm launching a new album shortly. I can play it from here. It might not sound as clear, but I'll look for it. So I'm coming up with a new album called Om Shanti by a Grammy winner, Ricky Cage. And I'm only going to, you see, you guys are so lucky. You're getting like the sneak previews of all the things that are coming out soon. So South Africa
yeah.
is so lucky. So these are only behind the scenes stuff that you're getting right now. And let me get it for
Thank you,
you.
Sister Jenna, for really sharing this valuable treasures with us. And your
Who is that?
precious
Tell me. Who am I
time.
talking to? Tell me.
Shirley.
So Sister
It's
Shirley
Hey,
from
Om
Johannesburg.
Shanti.
Om
Om Shanti.
Shanti.
Oh, so nice to hear you.
Yes, lovely.
All right then. So, you know, we're
Oh,
working.
Sister Jenna, I just want you to know that I just realized that I could actually speak. I didn't know that. This is
Is Dr. Ivy Hilton?
yes,
Look at
yes. Oh, I'm
you.
so excited. I usually can't talk to you while you're on live. So here we are.
So Dr. Ivy Hilton is a very popular opera singer, and she does this wonderful program now called Vibronics, everyone. And she's a descendant of Marian Anderson, who is also a famous, iconic African-American opera singer. And she's joined us today in South Africa. Oh, I wish you could have sung for us, Ivy. The family would have loved it. Can you sing for me?
It's so funny. I have a mouthful of, of cookies
You're
right
not supposed to
now.
be talking with food in your mouth.
I had to respond to you.
Oh,
But
well, let's
the
just...
next time we can certainly do it.
Okay, so Megala, you need to connect with Dr. Ivy Hilton, her and Shirley. Her talent, her wisdom, her voice is beyond. She had performed in Mount Abu, India at our headquarters, and there were about 10,000 folks in the audience, and she sung the song about pure feelings and good wishes in Hindi, and she got a standing ovation. This is the talent that the soul has, and you know it ain't easy to win over Indians, right?
Yeah, so
For sure,
kudos to Ivy.
definitely.
Yes, kudos to Ivy for sure. So thank you all so much. All right, so I'm going to give you a sneak preview on this, and thank
Yeah,
you all so much. My unlimited love and appreciation is with each and every one of you.
thank you.
This is still kind of being mastered. It'll be out in another few days or so. So I'm just letting you know. Can you all hear it?
Yes, we can hear
Yes,
you.
yes, Sister Jenna.
vibrations of love. And some say love is a verb. But much deeper than that, love is a vibration. It is that energy that stirs the soul and opens up the heart. Vibrations of love call out to the divine that connects us with the beauty of life and the oneness of it all. I need not to say it with words, although it is always nice to hear. But greater still is to feel it. Vibrations of love lift me higher, and I fill the empty spaces within the soul. It is the divine in its purest essence. It is me at the height of my being. I am vibrations of love. Shanti. That's our new album. That's our new album that's coming out. It's a meditation fusion album. Isn't the composition amazing? The music in the back? It's
Yes,
amazing,
it is.
right?
Yes.
It's quite
beautiful.
lovely. Yes. Yeah.
Very
Okay, so thank you. And Africa returns its blessings right back to you. Bye.
Lots of love. Take care.
Thank you,
Bye.
Sister Jenna.
Bye,
So many
Shirley. Take care.
blessings. You take
Bye.
care.
Bye.
Thank you, Sister
God
Jenna.
bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Take care. Be safe.
Bye.
You do the same.
Bye.